Alright, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. Now, before I do get into the story, I just want to mention that I know my mic doesn't sound the best, but I'm currently on vacation, so I apologize. It's only for a couple videos. Anyways, going on, today's story is about something insane that happened back when I was in high school. Now, I think we all know what skinny dipping is, and skinny dipping sometimes is fun, but at the same time, it's really awkward. It's almost like going to a nude beach. And I remember one time back when I was in high school, funny enough, around this time of winter, I went skinny dipping. And luckily, it was me and a bunch of girls. And by a bunch, I mean like 7. Let me explain. Basically, back when I was in high school, I remember there was this group that was basically going on a ski and snowboard trip. Me, I really don't ski or even snowboard at that matter. But still, I mean, I wanted to go because knowing that there was a bunch of chicks going and not a lot of the guys were going because apparently there was some cool dude event that was going on, I decided to sign myself up. So I remember I ended up going home, running to my mom and dad saying, "Hey, mom, dad, listen, I really want to go to this trip. Can we please go? Can I please?" I remember my mom looks at me and sees how it's a ski and snowboard trip, and she looks at me saying, Papa, you never ski or snowboard. Why do you want to go?" And I told her, "Mom, it's important for my education." I think all parents know that when a kid says it's for their education, it's for their damn education. Like, come on, man, just let me go. So I remember she ended up letting me go and ended up paying literally $200 just for me to go ski and snowboarding. I remember the day of, I remember I was Snapchatting everyone saying how I was going on this trip. A lot of the guys were weirded out because knowing that there were only like a couple of girls going was not really worth it to them. But for me, well, I knew it was going to be worth it. Because if you guys don't know or don't remember, I'm a helpless romantic. If I get the opportunity to find love, I'm going to take it. Even if it means doing the devil's tango with a ton of different women. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember I ended up meeting up with everyone at the bus. When we got on the bus, I remember literally there were only 7 girls on that bus. Apparently not a lot of people could afford the ski and snowboard trip, but luckily my parents paid for it with their credit card. So going on, I remember basically sitting beside a girl that was actually pretty attractive. She sat beside me on the bus, and basically we ended up going all the way there. Now, reminder, the drive was like, I want to say like 2 hours. So 2 hours sitting beside a girl, well, you get to learn a lot about them. For example, how many ex-boyfriends she has, the things that make her happy, the things that make her sad, basically everything I need to know if I want to do the devil's tango with her. But that wasn't the only thing. Knowing that there were only 7 girls on the bus and me, the only guy there, a lot of girls started to talk to each other. They were all questioning why I was on this trip, but I ended up just telling all of them together saying, "Oh, you know, I like snowboarding." Even though I've never actually snowboarded yet, but they all didn't care. But I remember on the side, 2 girls in the back of the bus were talking to each other, and one of them said, "Oh my goodness, like we should definitely go skinny dipping. Like, oh my goodness, like it's gonna be so fun. We should go in the hot tub at the resort." And then the other girl right beside her ended up saying, "OMG, let me text the group chat real quick." And basically, all of the girls had their notifications literally go off about a message that this girl sent out saying how they were gonna do a skinny dipping like event for themselves. I was really excited to hear this. You guys have no idea how exciting it is when you get to sit in a bus full of girls and knowing you get the opportunity to see them all not wearing anything. Well, you're kind of winning at life at that point. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember when I heard this, I was excited. I was like, okay, I think I know what I have to do. So I ended up looking over the girl's phone that was sitting right beside me, and I ended up seeing her text the group chat saying, "Yeah, but we have like Bubba on the trip. I don't think we can." And then I remember another girl ended up messaging the group chat, and I looked over her phone to see this, and this is no joke. She literally said, "Doesn't he have like a giant eggplant though?" Oh my goodness. The expectations were high, boys. You already know this was gonna get insane. I remember at this point, we ended up getting to the ski resort, and basically everyone started going into the hotel rooms getting ready. Me, I went inside my hotel room, and knowing I had a room all to myself because I was the only guy on the trip was the best thing ever. I remember I basically get everything on done and basically just started relaxing on the bed, laying down. And then the teacher knocks on the door saying, "Hey, Bubba, can I talk to you for a second?" The teacher ends up walking into my room and basically starts talking to me. He ended up telling me, "Hey, listen, so a lot of the girls are curious of, you know, if you're going to be comfortable on the trip. None of them want you to go home for some reason, but they want to just know if you're going to be okay." I ended up telling my teacher that I was going to be A-okay and nothing bad was going to happen to me. And he was like, "Oh, okay, just, you know, be smart with your choices." Oh, hell yeah, I was. Well, at least I thought so. Going on with the story, I remember this is where things got insane. We ended up going up to the ski hill and a lot of girls started looking at me. Well, basically all 7 of them. They all looked at me and then looked back at their phones, and I'm not joking when I say this, girls are literally addicted to their phone. Like, it's like their way of base communication. Unless you talk about eye contact, then at this point, I don't really know. That's kind of scary. Anyways, like I was saying, basically they kept going off and on about looking at me, going on their phone. It was just a back and forth situation until I decided to walk up to one of the girls saying, "Hey, like, what's going on? You excited to go down down this hill. She ends up looking at me, and for some reason, she looked at my eggplant, and then she just straight up blurred this out, saying, okay, I have like a serious question. Like, are you packing? What is what I said? Why would I pack? I just got here. She ends up laughing, saying, no, not that silly. I mean, like, are you packing? As she points at my eggplant. I told her, oh yeah, it's enormous, dude. I got so many alibis, just text any girl back at the high school. And I ended up walking away being all cocky. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought this was a bad move, being cocky, but it ended up getting her more excited. Because from then, all the girls started to come around me and basically stayed around me the whole entire trip. Literally the whole time, all these girls were coming close to me. They were holding my thigh. It got to the point where they were basically almost cuddling me the entire trip. It was pretty good until nighttime came. Now, this is the part where everything gets really exciting. I remember literally sitting in my bed, laying down at night, having one night in the hotel by myself. But as I was laying down, my phone just started getting crazy notifications on Snapchat. I went and checked my phone and I look at it and I'm like, what's going on? I see that I got added to a girl's group chat. I look into the group chat and I saw all of them talking about skinny dipping. I'm like, yo, am I supposed to be in here? Trying to act like I didn't know what was going on. And then all the girls ended up texting me saying, hey, like just meet up like outside near the hot tub. We're all gonna like skinny dip in there. And then afterwards, we're gonna go down to the water. It's like literally like freezing outside is what I texted them back. They all ended up laughing and basically sending laughing emojis saying, you'll be fine, silly, just come on. So I remember I ended up getting my swim trunks and I went down there and basically got to the hot tub. When I got there, all the girls, and I'm not even joking when I say this is straight out of like the Devil's Hub like scene. No joke, 7 girls in the hot tub not wearing anything. I was freaking out. I'm like, no way this is actually happening. And then I remember as I was walking up to the hot tub, these girls looked at me and said, why are you wearing swim trunks? You're literally not supposed to wear anything. Oh, I'm sorry. I ended up getting inside the hot tub with my swim trunks and then taking them off. So the water would kind of cover my eggplant. Knowing it's a hot tub too, the bubbles would go off. When I did that though, all the girls were coming near me. And one of the girls even took my swim shorts and threw them out of the hot tub. Like what? They were all surrounding me kind of being awkward. And honestly, at first it was really awkward for me, but as the girls started to come close to me and basically started touching my thigh, which was really near my eggplant, that's when I'm like, all right, it's go time. I started cuddling with all these girls. We started all chilling together. And then like 20 minutes in, I'm not even joking, I started making out with one of them. Literally 7 girls. It was mind blowing to me. And then I remember the best part was that one of the girls was like, okay guys, let's go to the water. Like before the teacher like notices we're gone. At first I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. But basically all of us ended up not wearing anything, getting out of the hot tub and running for the pool. We ended up going into the freezing cold water. That was the pool. And it was insane. When we hopped in, we all started making noises. We all started like, hanging out. And I remember all the girls just kept staring at my eggplant as if they never seen one before. It was super embarrassing and super awkward, but at the same time, it was super fun. Like I don't regret it. I would definitely do it again if I could. Anyways, like I was saying, going on with the story, I remember like 10 minutes in of being skinny dipping, basically in that pool, I remember a teacher ends up basically hearing us and he comes out of the door and literally sees us over the balcony seeing what's going on. At first, he just stares for like 2 minutes. He literally stared for like 2 minutes like it was nothing. Kind of creepy, but at the same time, the teacher was like, what, 4 years older than us? 5 years older? Wasn't that weird. He was in his 20s. But then, literally out of nowhere, the teacher decides to yell, all right, everyone back in the rooms. This is baloney. Everyone get back in the rooms right now. This is not allowed, guys. Come on. Don't make me tell your parents. All the girls start yelling and giggling as they start running back to the room. And me, I literally held my eggplant with my 2 hands and basically sprinted. You guys have no idea how hard it is to cover because it's massive. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember I got back to my hotel room and I closed the door out of pure embarrassment. It was super embarrassing. But then I remember 20 minutes later, I got a knock on the door and I opened it and it was one of the girls that was skinny dipping with us. She was one of the hotter girls and she walked into my room saying, I wasn't done with you yet. And basically me and her, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. It was super funny and super hilarious. And honestly, like I don't regret it at all. I remember the next day she ended up waking up beside me and we ended up like, basically wrapping up the trip because it was only like a 1-day trip, but it was super fun and super exciting to go on. And to this day, I'll forever remember it.
Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to a new story time. So today's story starts 1 year after I graduated high school. I remember around this time, I was vibing, doing my own thing, and just working really hard. Because the only thing you can do after graduating is either go to school or work your life out. And that's what I was doing. I remember I was working at a restaurant, just working as much as I can, and also doing construction on the side. But then I remember out of nowhere, one day when I was at the restaurant and I was doing my job as a, cook, I remember there was a person who came to the back of the restaurant and I didn't recognize her. I remember I looked at her and I kept looking at her because she was actually really attractive. But then I remember she went back there, and when she went to the back of the restaurant, I remember she decided to literally start start yelling at a person who was also back there. And he was like a coworker of mine. I remember when I heard yelling, I decided to go see what was going on because things could have gotten really bad. But when I got back there, I realized that apparently this girl that came to the back was dating one of my coworkers, and I guess things ended in a really bad note. I remember when I went back there, I decided to say, hey, like, can you guys tone it down? Like, I understand you guys are arguing, but like, we don't need this here right now. I remember the girl looked at me all upset, but instead of punching me in the face like she looked like she wanted to do, she walked up to me and decided to kiss me right in the face. She literally just kissed me out of nowhere. It made no sense, and I remember I looked at her thinking, you good? And then she ended up going back inside the restaurant and walking away. I remember I looked at my coworker and I asked him saying, yo, like, what just happened? And then he ended up looking at me all upset saying, Bubba, I'm just gonna go home, bro. Like, she just ended things with me because like I cheated on her and I didn't tell her about it. And I guess she tried to get back at me from, you know, kissing you. Just don't worry about it, okay? I don't want to talk about it. And he ended up going to his locker and getting his things and leaving, which really sucks. But at the same time, I guess getting dumped is not easy. I remember after that whole situation though, I ended up just doing the rest of my shift and I ended up just, you know, packing up my things and getting ready to go home because I ended up getting off earlier that day. And I remember right as I got my things and I left out the front door of the restaurant, I saw the same girl that kissed me earlier just sitting on the curb and crying. She was crying over and over and over. Now me, my first intention was, oh, just leave her there because, you know, it's tough. You know, life's tough like that. But I don't know what it was. I think it was the kiss she gave me or I don't know. But I decided to walk up to her. I walked up to her and I said, hey, like, is everything all right? She looked at me and said, oh, what do you want? And I ended up telling her, hey, listen, I heard about what happened. And honestly, you don't deserve to get cheated on. No one does. And, you know, if you want to talk about it, I'm here to talk about it. She ended up looking at me and kind of smiling and kind of laughing, saying, you know, like, I just can't believe he cheated on me. Like, seriously, like, look at me. I'm fun. I'm awesome. I'm amazing. And in my mind, I was thinking, but you're literally insane. Because what kind of girl kisses another guy in front of her ex-boyfriend? Like, let's be real here, people. But I remember I looked at her instead and I said, yeah, no, I understand what you're feeling. Honestly, it happens. And then from there, I remember me and her, we ended up just kind of walking around talking about the relationship that just ended, which is never a good sign. But then one thing I realized about her is that she was a straight rebel. If you guys don't know what I mean she would literally, and I mean literally, go to stores with me and steal stuff. She would kick down signs and even a basic traffic cone she would pick up and throw in the air as if it was a frisbee. It was honestly something that I never really understood about her, but I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of fun. It was like me back in middle school being shy but doing the occasional rebellious thing. So I remember I stuck around with her and me and her, we were out till dark. We were out till, I want to say, sunset was happening. We were at the park sitting down on a hill and we were just watching the sunset. And I remember I decided to tell her, hey, I gotta admit, I thought you were crazy, but you're actually pretty cool. She looked at me and said, oh yeah? Well, I mean, thanks. And then that's when she turned around. She turned her whole body around and saw a body of water that we were close to. She looked at it and said, Bubba, have you ever been skinny dipping? Huh? Is what I said. And I didn't want to say I have because I didn't want to seem weird. But then I ended up saying, I did it once, yeah. Like, you know, with a girl is what I ended up telling her to, you know, make it seem cool, you know, not to make her think that I did it with a guy because that's just weird. And then she ended up telling me, oh, good. So you're experienced then. She ended up standing up and taking off her top and taking off her bra. And she decided to go straight for the water. And me, I'm thinking, oh boy, okay, here goes nothing. And I decided to take off all my clothing and we jumped straight into the water. We started basically skinny dipping. We went inside this body of water that was, you know, pretty remote. Luckily, no one was there, but still, it was super awkward because anyone, and I mean, even the cars driving on the road passing by us could see us, you know, naked in the water. But I remember we were just having fun, splashing around, and then at one moment I remember she came close to me, pushed me, and me as I went to go push her, she grabbed onto me and I grabbed onto her, and well, we ended up kissing, and then from there, me and her, we actually ended up doing the devil's tango in the water, like literally in the water, like the lake that we were on. I remember we were doing it for, I want to say 10 minutes, but my body got cold and I was shivering, and she also was getting cold. But right before we ended things on the devil's tango, I remember the girl ended up seeing a flashlight coming towards the lake, and apparently there was a dog barking as well. At first I thought it was someone walking their dog, but it ended up being a security guard checking around the park. At that point I started panicking, and so did she. So me and her, we ran straight to get our clothing. We got them, and as we were running, we were putting on our clothing as fast as we could. It was honestly actually something really cool, and I would actually do again. That adrenaline rush really got to me. Like, think about it. Adrenaline, doing the devil's tango in a lake, like it really gets to you. From there, I remember I decided to tell her, hey, like, do you want to come back to my place? And she looked at me and said, I don't know, like, I got stuff to do. And I ended up telling her, well, we can't end the night just like that. Like, are you serious? She looked at me and she told me, Bubba, I want you to close your eyes. Huh? Is what I said. I thought she was gonna do another, you know, crazy stunt. You know what I mean? For me, I remember I closed my eyes and then she told me to count to 20. I counted to 20 as if we were about to play hide and seek. But then I remember after I counted to 20, she was gone. She literally just disappeared. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did wrong. It really messes with my head even till this day. That girl was awesome. And honestly, to know that she just kind of disappeared as if she was Batman, I'm not gonna lie, it was really cool, but at the same time, really sad. I remember the next day when I went to work, I decided to ask my coworker that he ended things with to, you know, basically tell me her name or, you know, basically tell me like, you know, what's her like socials or, you know, what's her Instagram, her Facebook, anything. But I remember when he asked him, he said, why, huh? What, you want to hit her up? She'll never go for a guy like you. And at that point, since he was my coworker, I didn't want to tell him what happened because that would just cause more drama. But I will say one thing. I did run into this girl again one day, but we'll just continue that story for another time. And when I was at the lake with these two girls, I remember one thing led to another. One of them looked at me and said, are you like shy or something? And that's when I decided to take off my swim trunks. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba and welcome back to a super insane story. So today's story all takes place back in my high school year, and this was actually my grade 12 year. Now in grade 12, many people like to host events and stuff, especially other grade 12 students, to basically make great memories by the end of the school year. And I remember me, I never really hosted anything because I didn't feel the need to, because I feel like I really left my mark on the school by doing a lot of the devil's tango. But I remember there was one time my grade 12 year where basically it was towards the end of the year and there was a group of girls that were trying to host an event. And I remember with every event, well, let's be real here, it's not a party without guys and girls. So as these girls were going around the school, basically making a rumor about this event, I wasn't told about it till way later. Actually, I wasn't even told about it until the day of, and apparently the planning for this was like longer than a week. But I remember the way I got invited was I was sitting in the cafeteria with me and my friends, me and the other boys, as I would usually say, and then one of the girls that was in the friend group that was planning this event ended up walking up to me. She walked up to me and said, hey Bubba, like, can I like talk to you for a minute? Yeah, sure. Let's just move over here. Me and her, we ended up moving over to a separate table where no one was around, and she looked at me saying, Bubba, so I was just wondering, me and the girls are hosting this awesome event by the lake, and I was just wondering if you want to go. Yeah, I'm down. Wait, why aren't my friends allowed to hear this though? Oh, because like, I don't know, some of them are pretty weird, so like, you can invite like 2 of them because they're both like pretty cute, but to be honest, like most of the girls just wanted to invite you, so like, I don't know, it's really up to you, but just invite maybe those 2 and that's it, like nothing more. Now at the time, there was a group of 7 of us in the boys, and me hearing that only, you know, this girl wanted only 3 of us, which was me and my 2 other, I guess, somewhat attractive friends, at least to her friends, they were attractive. They ended up getting invited to this thing. So I remember I ended up going back and I actually ended up making a group chat over my phone with me and the 2 other guys explaining everything and stuff, and they kept it quiet obviously because they respected, you know, the girls' wishes, which I mean, to be fair, the other guys weren't invited, so it makes sense to respect them. And basically one thing led to another. One of my friends ended up asking me saying, wait Bubba, why are we going to a lake, bro? Like what's the point of the lake? Dude, I have no idea, but we should just go anyway. Like, they're a group of girls, like what do we got to lose? I don't know, Bubba, is this a good idea? Nah, trust me boys, it'll be fine. We'll just go and check it out. I'll pick us all up and we'll go over to the lake. Now I know it sounds kind of weird that I said tonight, but the thing is that these girls hosted this event at the lake at a super late time where most people wouldn't usually go to the lake, and this time was around like 9:30 going on to like 10 o'clock. So I remember that day I ended up heading home after school, and basically me and all the boys started playing Xbox, but then 3 of us decided to slowly disappear because when 9 o'clock came around, that's when I got my swim trunks on, a t-shirt, and I ended up basically getting my car and driving over to my friend's place to pick them up. When I picked up the 2 guys, we started basically, you know, getting everything we needed to go to the lake at a super late time. And when we got there, I remember I parked in the parking lot, and what I recognized was that a lot of girls that were at my school was at this event. Like, I am not joking, the ratio from guys to girls was like 30-5. Like, there was a lot more girls there than guys. So I remember when we got there around like 10:30, I want to say, because we decided to show up late because it's always cooler to show up late to a party than earlier. We all ended up basically meeting up with everyone. We saw everyone there, and we started, like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, we started drinking some alcohol, which, by the way, no one should drink alcohol. This is a warning to you guys right now. It is not cool to underage drink. Making that known right now. But basically, we all ended up hanging out, doing our thing, and honestly hanging by the lake. But as time went on throughout the the day, I remember a lot of girls actually ended up leaving. The reason a lot of girls ended up leaving was because it was getting too late and it was a weekend and their parents wanted them home because a lot of them still had strict parents. As for me and like a couple other girls, well, we ended up still hanging out and stuff. But then one of my friends ended up telling me, yo, Bubba, not gonna lie, bro, there's one girl that was here that like was really hot and like she's heading home right now. So is it cool if I like just bus with her back home? Yeah, sure. If you want to, you know, hang out with her and take her home, I don't mind. Okay, sweet, bro. Thanks for driving me. And he ended up leaving. Now, obviously, I was happy for my friend for pulling a girl. But as for my other friend, well, I couldn't say the same because my other friend was really being, well, I guess shy in a way. And for him talking to girls was really hard because he had no riz. So I remember he ended up basically walking up to me towards late at night when it was like almost like 1:30 a.m. And he looked at me saying, yo, bro, I'm just gonna head home, to be honest. Like, I don't think I want to be here. Okay. Do you want me to drive you home? Nah, it's cool, Bubba. I can see you're having fun. I'll just, take the bus. It's all good. All right, man. We'll just be safe, all right? Yeah, I will. Don't worry. Have fun, Bubba. And he also ended up leaving. Now, over time, honestly, as time went on, it was around 2:30 at night. I honestly sobered up at this point, and it got to the point where, I'm not gonna lie, these two girls, when I looked around, I realized that there was only like really 3 other girls left. And I remember one of the girls ended up looking at me, and she saw that I was the only guy left standing, I guess, out of the other like, what, 5 other guys that were there. And basically, she looks at me and says, Bubba, I have a question. Yeah, what's up? Where'd you get those swim shorts? I got them at the store. Why? Well, like, I don't know. It's kind of like cute. If you guys don't know, the reason she's saying this is because I had swim trunks with flamingos on it because it was like a really cool shorts. I don't know. I thought it was cool. Okay. It was like, I guess I was in my Ken era. I have no idea, but it looked really neat and I liked them. So I don't know why this girl was asking about it. But then right after I told her that, she ended up saying, oh, well, like, I was just wondering, like, what if we like went inside the lake without anything on? The other girl I remember looks over at us and says, do you mean like skinny dipping? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Skinny dipping. We should go skinny dipping, Bubba. Now, when these two girls mentioned skinny dipping, not gonna lie, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do this. I've done this before. I won't lie to you guys. I've told a story about this on the channel already, but skinny dipping with 2 girls at the same time, kind of crazy. But I remember one thing led to another. There was still another girl there, and honestly, she ended up actually going home when there was talk about skinny dipping going on. So what ended up happening was me and these 2 girls basically all agreed that, you know what? Let's just go skinny dipping. I know it sounds insane, especially in a public lake, which by the way, no one should be doing. But still, I remember basically we all decided that we should go, and one thing led to another. I remember these girls ended up taking off their swimsuits right in front of me. Like, I'm not joking, right in front of me. It was like one of those scenes in a movie where the girls just decide to take off everything. Like, it was actually insane. I remember my eyes were opening wide, and I remember one of the girls ended up turning their head and looking at me saying, aren't you gonna take off those swim trunks? Come on, we're going skinny dipping. And at that moment, I didn't know what to do, but I won't lie to you, I wasn't gonna give up such a good moment. Like I said, throughout my life, I go through life saying yes a lot, even though maybe it's not the best idea to sometimes. But anyways, I ended up taking off my swim trunks, having my eggplant totally hanging out, and I went inside the lake, and I basically started skinny dipping with these 2 girls. I remember one of the girls was like kind of keeping her distance, which I respected, but the other girl, I could not say the same because she kept coming on to me and trying to cuddle me, and it got to the point where one thing led to another. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, she ended up actually grabbing my eggplant, and well, we kind of ended up doing the devil's tango in the lake, as there's literally this other girl kind of watching. But then I'm not gonna lie, over time she did join us during the devil's tango. But as this was going on, I remember things went from crazy to worse, because at this point we were in there for like longer than like 20 minutes, and I was actually freezing cold. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know how my eggplant was working underwater like that, but man was a scuba diver. Okay, I'm gonna say that much. But as we were in there, I remember like 20 minutes later, we ended up seeing flashlights from across the lake, and at that moment we knew that security was the only reason why flashlights would be flashed around. So me and these 2 other girls trying not to get caught, I remember we ended up panicking, and we all ended up actually putting on our clothes as fast as possible, sobbing wet by the way, and we ended up basically running straight to my car and driving out of there. I never driven out of a place so fast ever, and I'm happy that I sobered up because, well, drinking and driving is never a good idea. I should mention that right now. But one thing led to another. I ended up driving both of these girls home, and to be honest, they both apparently were roommates, which was actually kind of a weird coincidence, but made sense why she didn't also leave. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, we ended up taking the rest to the bedroom, and yeah, we did the devil's tango, sobbing wet of lake water on her bed. But honestly, the best thing I can say is that skinny dipping with 2 girls leads to usually you wanting to follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.